So how long have we been working together?
7 years?
7 years.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. And we actually weren't even where we are now. I think I was introduced to the idea of Cody because I met your partner, Dusko,
Mhm.
at an open house because my sister bought a house and didn't use me for the mortgage, just so that we're clear. And yeah, like from a sign
Kendrick,
call.
right? Kendrick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Shame,
Hey.
shame,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Let's start this podcast off just by saying, if you have a family member in real estate, in mortgages, in a small business, support them, guys.
Yeah.
Even if you don't think they're gonna do a great job, they probably will do a better job than the average person in the industry because they care more about you and your situation, or they should.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, it's your family. Hold them accountable. Like
yes,
you can say all
yeah,
the super
literally.
honest things to them about how
Literally,
you want the
right?
experience
You
to
can
go,
learn the
right?
whole process better. You could sit down beside them and learn it if you really want to. So,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Use
thanks
your
for
family,
nothing,
guys. Use your family.
Kendra.
Come on.
Anyway, I think I was standing at that open house and this guy like tattoos up his arms, this young
Yeah.
guy. I don't know how old were you guys then?
In our
20s?
30s.
Oh man,
Mid
I was like,
30s,
this
yeah.
guy must be
I'm almost
25.
40 now, so yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, said, my partner and I are gonna have a team someday and we're gonna do some real cool stuff. And you should want to be our mortgage partner. And I thought, this guy is on drugs. I was like, no way. Who is this kid? But we exchanged business cards, and 7 years later, we've done a lot of
Bigger than
deals.
ever, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
unbelievable. So tell me about Rep YYC. Like, what does it look like right now?
So me and Dusko started it. We were on a team. We were on another team beforehand, the Greater Property Group. Shout out those guys. They do cool things. They should actually join our brokerage too. I'll just put it
Yeah,
out there because
yeah,
their model literally aligns with it. And they're always ahead of the curve. They're a good group of guys. They kind of wanted to, they actually wanted to shift the model early. They were leaving Remax and
yeah,
going and doing their own brokerage. So they were actually really ahead of the curve, but we didn't believe in that. We believed in the brand and the importance of Remax and all that. So we decided to stay, grow, and do our own
yeah.
thing. And yeah, Dusko and I took it from there. We brought a few agents on early on from that team, and we've grown it to 30 agents, and
Wild,
kind of a wild ride since. Yeah.
wild. How many deals you guys do last year in 2024?
About around 500.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. And so obviously I have some insight into your business, but like super systems, process, training driven,
And it's a
right? Like,
process, right? Like anyone
yeah.
who knows and runs a small business, it never starts. Even if you buy all the coaching and the packages and all that from the onset, it won't fit you. It won't fit your business. It won't fit what you really want to do.
I think it's funny that you say that because people always say to me, how did you decide what Spire was going to look like? Because obviously I was an individual agent. I think I was actually didn't even have
There was no Spire when we
childcare.
first
Yeah,
started
there's no
either.
Spire. It
Yeah.
was like Renee with
It
like a
was Renee. Yeah.
3-year-old on her hip.
Yeah.
My kids always joke they called them Uncle Dusko and Cody
Yeah.
because they had to come to team meetings. I was like, just getting
Video
it off the
shoots. Like I
ground.
remember doing a video shoot. We went and did like a shoot, and her kids were there, just like in the parking lot of downtown library. They're like, "What are we doing here, guys?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about that too, because I think one of the cool things about meeting you guys is like everyone was just like gas pedal through the floor,
Yeah.
right? And I
Yeah.
think, somebody said to me recently, game sees game.
Yeah.
And I can joke all I want about meeting Dusko in that house that day to actually take possession of it for my sister that I'll remind you didn't use me for the mortgage. And I was like, these kids are cool,
Yeah.
And anyway, we met like a week later, and 7 years later, we're still doing all kinds of deals together and all
Yeah.
kinds of cool stuff. Yeah. And honestly, I know I wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't met you guys, and my business wouldn't be what it is today if I hadn't met you guys. I've learned
It'd
so
be
much.
bigger, better, probably, but we held her back.
No,
Yeah.
so much about marketing, and it's been really cool to be a part of so many collaborative ideas. So.
And that's like for me, I think if I'm going to give anybody advice in business, it's like collaborate, not with just people in your industry, but outside of it, right? Because like you have to think everyone is just small business owners trying to figure out the
Oh,
equation of their business. And you may spend your 100, you use that term a lot, 100 hours, right? You may spend your 100 hours learning this pillar and really owning it. And if you can leverage someone else's 100 hours and combine them, the synergy can
yeah.
be crazy, right?
Oh, it's wild.
Yeah.
And I think, we get into this mentality of just like head down and maybe I don't want to share. It's sort of like a scarcity mindset. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to share my ideas. And it's just really broken thinking. Like anytime I find myself in a scarcity mindset or like, how is this about me or how can I get more for me?
Hmm.
I'm on the wrong path.
Yeah.
And like, listen, guys, I screw it up. Like I screw things up. But like as a small business owner, every day you come to work and if you're growing, you've never done that thing before.
Hmm.
So you're literally reinventing wheels all
Every
day
day.
long.
Yeah.
And that's exhausting. And if you're not collaborating and trying to like at least like take some molds for some of those wheels from
Yeah.
other people within your industry or outside of your industry, like you're doing it wrong,
Yeah.
right? You're just doing it wrong.
And you're spending too much time on stuff that you probably shouldn't be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we wanted to talk about this partnership today.
Yeah.
It's not something that I think we've even talked about a lot.
Yeah.
You know, we don't like
It
to
just
give each
worked.
other.
It's worked. You know what it is? It's because like she said, when you have good synergy, you've got the right mindset. You don't have to talk a lot about what's going on because you are all showing up every day equally aligned. And that's like a business partner, right? Like it's very easy for me. Like people go like, how do you and Dusko work it out? Like, right? Like what's like, it's easy because we both just show up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and we have since day one. So there's never been that weird, like, hey, I'm doing this, you're doing this. Like, what's that? You know?
Yeah.
It's like everybody's showing up, they're doing their own thing, contributing to the greater goal.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. And I think, you know, when I think about it, I'm not going to say like there's been lots of moments, just so we're clear, that I'm sure these guys wanted to wring my neck and that like, you know, I got off the phone call and my blood was boiling. But at the end of the day, I think you just have to think, I know fundamentally that these guys are showing up, doing the best they can with what they have available every day. They're super client focused. Everything they're doing is about making the industry and the client experience better every single time. And I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, I think that you also believe that about me.
Yeah.
Without ever
My
saying
wife
it.
says this too. She told me this saying. I love it. It's equally informed people make equally informed decisions. Right. So
Yeah.
like as a relationship, like you're only going to be upset with that. We're upset with you because an agent comes to us and they say, Renee's dropping the ball here.
Yeah.
And I can easily come to Renee and be that guy that's like, Renee, you're dropping the ball. Or I can have a conversation with you and say, hey, here's what I'm getting from my team. How do we address this and work this? Because I know you're not dropping the ball intentionally.
Yes.
I know your intent is to want to make business and grow this. I know that that's your intent. So instead of being like, Renee, you're not doing this right. It's, hey, here's a gap in our business.
Yeah.
Let's make this go.
Totally.
Let's
I
address
love
it,
that.
right?
It's funny. While we're on the topic of spouses, I like Lynn way more than Cody, and she's probably way smarter. And these guys actually like Mike way more than they like me, and he's also way smarter. And so the one he says to me is like the best relationships are often when both people feel like they're getting the best end of the deal.
Yeah.
And so like I find if I always just get back to that mentality too, in any partnership, whether it's my marriage or, you know, my marriage to these guys or anyone else I'm working with, right? We all have lots of partners in the industry, whether it's our lawyer or, you know, our insurance people or home inspectors, these kind of folks that we refer to that we have great relationships with and trust. Like, well, I always just get back to like, hey, I'm getting the best end of the deal here. Honestly, I am. And I get back to that mindset. And it's really easy to shift the conversation to like, hey, what feedback can I give them so I keep getting the best end of the deal, right? Which is just, I think it's always just coming at it from a positive mindset, right?
And also like genuinely, if you're in real estate or mortgages, together, you can build a business together.
Yeah.
Sorry, all the great lawyers in Calgary that I know, I can't build a business around you. Sorry, all the great home inspectors I know, I can't build a business around you. We don't do the same thing.
Yeah.
You guys are post-sale dealing with our clients. We are pre-sale. We're top of the line funnel. Right. So her and I can be very aligned in like, we're trying to find the same people starting out their home search. Right.
Yes.
And they're in the same process, whether they're starting out at the finance side or the home side of it. And so I want to build a business with someone in the mortgage space versus, you know, like you said, you want to have great partners around and there's a lot of great partners to have. But one of the most important relationships is the mortgage one because you guys can actually grow it together.
Yes. And I think what is super interesting is that when you're choosing that partner, and I think that's some of why we wanted to do this today because we felt it was valuable to like our colleagues in the industry, is that when you're choosing that partner, your value set has to be aligned and your timeline has to be aligned. We were not transactional. We both knew we had tons of good to give to our clients, to give to the real estate experience in Alberta, you know, to give to the industry in general. And we knew our timeline was really infinite. Like we wanted to make this a career and make this industry better. And so we were in it for the long haul. When you're dealing with these kinds of partnerships, that's the mentality I think you have to have. Because if you're transactionally focused, you're not really building a partnership, right? It's just deal by deal. And we want clients for life. That's the end of it. Right.
And in reality, when you get in this space, you know that like the life of a lead, it can go like it can start here and they're like, hey, I want to buy a house and it's a 9 alarm fire to get in this house. And then all of a sudden something happens with their finances. They discover that they don't know. So then we dip here. And in reality, they're buying 2 years down the road, but like you need a partner that's going to help nurture it, take it along the path and
Yeah.
progress it and understand that with you, right? Because like if that's the space you're in, you need a partner that's also aligned with that.
Yeah, we had a super cool meeting at the end of the year, and one of the neat discoveries that I had in my business is that I actually funded more mortgages for clients that I was introduced to by Cody's team in 2023 than clients I was introduced to in 2024. So
Yeah.
super interesting, right? It
Yeah.
just shows that incubation period. And what's funny is that as you get a deeper relationship with your partner that you're working with, your incubation period, like, so my overall incubation period for a lead, and by an incubation period, I really just mean the amount of time, like from the time that lead was introduced to me to the
Hmm.
time they actually transacted, it actually increases.
Yeah.
And it's because it's really a snowball effect, right? There's just, each year you're just converting leads that we converted leads this year. We did deals with leads that were originally came in as a referral in 2021,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that if you don't have that data and that tracking, you
And the
also,
software,
yes, and the
right? It's
software,
like
like,
whatever, like I always say this, like it's like it shouldn't be said, but like if you're in this business and you don't have a CRM, shame on you. Like straight
yeah,
up, shame on you. You shouldn't be in this business, straight up.
yeah,
Because there's no way you're long term or you're just great and you want to do a small thing. But I'm talking if you want to have a big team, you want to scale, you have to have that. You have to have that and you have to have a partner who can be in it, right? Because then
yeah,
you're otherwise you're my favorite thing with Dusko is when we meet a team that's like thinking about joining Real and they're like, well, we're not really using a mortgage partner within our space. And we're like, okay, so we're about to get you like integrated with someone. You have to find someone in your market that you're going to be comfortable with, but we're going to get you co-branded marketing platform, co-branded CRMs, things that are going to actually make you guys work together, integrate and grow your business and grow pillars. Because that's what I would say is in real estate, let's say early on, we build a website, it does great for SEO and we rely on that and we sit on that and it does well and it feeds our team. And then ChatGPT, OpenAI, and all the other stuff that's coming down the pipeline disrupts the industry, right? Well, if that was your only pillar that you'd grown that whole time and nurtured, you're done. You're dead
yeah,
in the water, right? Same with PPC. Like we put a lot into PPC, but like who knows? Like with the way that AI is going, people might stop using it. And I think actually our industry is a bit more protected from that versus like other industries where they do rely on that, right? So yeah.
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 No, I think it's so interesting, and I think the so to just circle back to the CRM because I actually want to like sit on
Yeah.
this for a little while. So we have mutual CRMs. And so, as a mortgage partner, if you want to show value to your referral partners and ultimately, you guys, to the clients,
Yeah.
you have to connect that same referral partner to that lead for life,
Yeah.
right? Because if both Cody and I, who know that we are very good at our jobs, providing awesome value to clients, are dripping the clients, as a united front,
Yeah.
building a fence around those clients, getting them the information that they need to make the best real estate decisions that they can for
Mhm.
themselves. It's only more powerful to us as a team, to the client, to them referring us to other people
Yeah.
as a team. It's interesting, so Dusko and I did a lot of the deals together. The way their business works, Dusko's, more front-facing sales with clients. And so we often joke we're very much referred as a pair,
Yeah.
right? Because the client experience is so good on both sides that they're like, this partnership is going to give you guys what
Yeah.
you need to have a successful real estate transaction. And so the CRMs have to exist in both worlds,
Yeah.
and you have to really be able to connect those leads that came from that team back to them for life, right?
Yeah. And it's
So,
an evolution too, right? Like we didn't have the same marketing we both have now, right?
mhm,
But like in the beginning, you get it together, you get the basis going, and then you build on that. And the
yeah,
foundation is like you work through like what works for you as a team as you're growing and scaling it, and then what works for you to complement that. Because like truthfully, if you early on align with a good mortgage partner and your team's growing, they should also want to have growth within their company. Like it should not be you're a 30-person team and a one-man operation supporting that.
yeah,
Because genuinely, then you're getting underserved as a team.
yeah,
You're like, truthfully, you could not work by yourself and do our team.
no,
It
and
would just not be possible.
yeah,
And the other side of it is, I think like it's like the co-branding, the co-marketing, the co-visibility. you then are introduced to our space, which is more beneficial. Like
Yes.
it's great for me to have mortgage partners watch our stuff, but it's more beneficial for you as a
Yes.
mortgage broker to have agents looking at us going like, here's top 5 team in Canada with their brokerage, and they're using this person in everything, in their
Yeah.
drips, on their YouTube, in their newsletter, in their CRM, calling their clients, helping us get sales. Like that's, another
Yeah.
avenue of it, right? They see that and go like, that's the person I want to be aligned with.
Yeah.
I don't want to be aligned with the person that like points at the wheel on the screen and tells you the 10 things that,
The hippie hippie shake
right? And I'm
shake.
not saying that you don't do that, but like,
I don't do
right?
that.
Well,
Like, come
I'm
on.
saying you might have done it before. I don't know.
I've
Like
never
everybody,
done the hippie hippie shake
listen,
shake.
everybody's done this once, I'm sure, except for me and right now, right? But like, you know what I mean? Like the embarrassing TikTok stuff, right? It's like, everyone gets guilted into being like, that's got to be what's working, right? This person's been doing it for 2 years.
Yeah.
No, that's not. What works
No.
is like, someone sees you on there working with us and goes like, she knows what she's talking about. I wish I had this with my clients. How do I get that?
Yeah.
How do I get access to that?
Yeah, it's hugely beneficial. And I want to actually like take a minute to say that I didn't want to grow my team necessarily as fast as I did. And so like that was a huge push from Cody and Dusko for me to grow a team. It's made me a better mortgage broker. It's made me a better
You
person.
didn't want to write blogs too, I'm pretty sure, in the past. And
Yeah.
then,
So this is, I wasn't even finished yet.
sorry.
I'm like, so these are amazing opportunities. And I have moments in working with them where I'm like, these guys are so much work. Like, holy shit, these guys are putting me over the edge, And at the end of the day, this is where you have to actually shift your mentality. Like the opportunity to be able to write a blog that gets rolled out over all of the platforms that 30 agents are sharing with clients, like that is a huge opportunity. So, I know I drag my heels, but come on, I've still written
No. What I'm actually saying is not only did she write content for us, but then you take that and you go and write like her site, Spire Mortgage, has tons and tons of video and written content. I'm saying, I don't know if you necessarily go that route without us being like, you should really go that route, dude. You should really do that. There's a big gap here,
Yeah, no, it's been amazing. And honestly, they've been behind me, pushing me a lot. And it is hard when you are in the business.
It's almost like coaching though, right? Like it's like you've got someone helping you be accountable in your space that like might not otherwise, right? Because that's why I actually love having a business partner. Cause like if I wake up every day, I might go a crazy direction that doesn't make sense. You need someone to kind of talk to you and be like, hey, like that sounds good, but like what's the path to that? How do we achieve that? How do we get there? What's that going to look like,
Yeah, exactly. I think in this business, especially because real estate mortgages, like it's become very much a marketing business, right? And even, like with the move, like with a lot of these major teams to Real and to EXP, it's become also a recruiting business, right? There's a lot of sort of shiny object syndrome, like on both sides. We could, say the same about the mortgage world. And so I think it's important to have people that are holding you accountable to like, at the end of the day, what is your business? How do you want to make money? How do you want to show up? And help, keep you on a path that, listen, it's certainly not straight. Like, let's be honest, there's still, but just pulling you back to the path that makes the best sense for your business. Right.
Yeah. And like we said, your buyer's guide, right?
Yeah.
We now use that with our clients, right? And our agents have marketing material they're taking from you that you've created. And then that's getting in front of people in the wild, right? Like that's the type of synergy and growth that you kind of just keep stacking on, that there's just huge mutual beneficial.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, it's been hugely beneficial to me. And something that was really cool to see this year in Calgary is, I'd venture to say one of the reasons that people align with me is because I'm so passionate about real estate. Most people know I've owned investment real estate for a long time. I love it. I understand how it works. We actively manage properties. I understand tenant relationships. And so we've turned a lot of our clients into investors over the years. And the cool thing is that because we have that aligned value set and we have that aligned understanding. When I look at a lot of the deals that I did this year, they were for clients that Dusko and I helped buy their first home 5 years ago, that we've stayed in contact with, that we've continued to educate. Now they have, and again, and I'm just going to pump my own tires here. I put everyone in the right mortgage product. I don't have commission breath ever. It's all about what's best for the clients always. These guys know it. I know it. I know that's how they transact in real estate too. And so these clients were in a position to have equity to become real estate investors. And so like the number of people that we turned into real estate investors this year because they actually had equity in their
It's
properties.
actually crazy how many clients we have that like And some that like, there's a few clients that like have great, like you could say generational wealth from their investing from the last 5 years of
Yeah.
picking up properties, which is cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to be a part of that because you don't think of it that way. You always just think you're putting people in homes like ABC, right? Just
Yeah.
here's your new home, here's your new home. But you also are helping people do what we do, invest in real
Yeah.
estate. And yeah.
Yeah. Like my hair's standing on end. Like it is, I always tell people, I come from nothing. Like I'm from Medicine Hat. I come from nothing. My parents, they were really just worried about paying down debt. And I think we all come from like similar spaces, right? I've been able to watch Cody and Dusko grow as real estate investors and so many clients. Like we have fundamentally changed their lives because we collaboratively taught them about real estate. And so like the partnership just, it really allowed us to do more deals, obviously, which, is lucrative to us, but it also fundamentally changed people's lives. When somebody like that is saying your name to someone else, like what is the power of that referral? It's unbelievable.
It's crazy, right?
Right?
Walking billboards, those people for us, right? Yeah.
It's unbelievable, right? And so it's cool to see. It's really cool to see. Yeah.
One thing I did want to talk to you about actually was, I think what we're working on collectively in our own ways, and it's going to I know it will heat into one funnel probably down the road, but is the space, because in real estate in like with our brokerage, the traditional model of, your Remaxes, your Royal LePages, your CIRs, all that, it's very top heavy. It's very like, and it's not scalable. And like the biggest thing when you're running a small business, it's scaling, because realistically, that's how you make money. You and I can't be on the phone for the next 20 years talking to clients because we've put the work in to put all the systems and make everything, all those checkpoints, every funnel you have in your CRM to make sure everything's done right. But that's not scale. Like you can't go from 500 to 700 to 800 or do bigger things without proper scaling. And so like a lot of what we do is focus on how can we scale systems in our business to really to scale it, to grow it, not just ourselves, but replicate it outwardly.
Yeah.
And I think like the mortgage space is going to change rapidly. And that's what was so attractive for us at going to Real Broker was like the traditional model. We believe so much in the brand, and that like, that's why people sat down with us. I'm the one hiring the videographer, like literally in-house, training him, criticizing every video he does. I'm the one going through the video, editing the photos, doing all the marketing, like spending all these dollars on generating leads. My broker doesn't know any of this stuff, and he doesn't want to know any of that. He wants to know how to bring people into the brokerage and keep them in there. I don't want to know that. And if I'm going to help him on that, I want to see some benefit in that too.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think like what we're seeing a shift is in a lot of industries is that it's the power of the people, like the power of the agents. Right.
Yeah.
And that's where, people like you and I are going to start taking our systems, taking different platforms and saying, hey, this is what you need to be successful. Here's the blueprint. Take this and run with it. Go make it your own. Like what we did specifically may not work for you, but here's the blueprint. Here's what you're going to do with it. And you're going to work with me to make that happen. Talk to me about it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's so interesting. And I think in our space, you have to recognize we all have different skill sets. Like I think you and I share that we are salespeople for sure, but we also are process driven and we know how to create a process. And not everyone has that skill set. So I think aligning with a group of people that can collaborate with you and fill some of those holes for you and inspire you to want to, build your business in that direction so that you can scale it, is so huge. Obviously, you guys are way ahead of me on this one. They're always way ahead of me. Like, let's just put that out there. I mean, sadly, this is recorded. I don't like to give them any credit, but they are way ahead of me.
Glad it's on tape.
Yeah. I'm a slow decision maker. I'm very intentional. And
it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Probably,
just holding back the reins at all times a little bit. But no, I couldn't agree more that I think I certainly have something to give in the industry. And I certainly want to scale and want to see more people being successful. And, the cool thing about us is that I think that we have a unique relationship that is 7 years old, that we've put a ton of work into, that every 6 months we kind of give it the old table flip and say, this isn't working. How can it work better? How can we do more? Where should we put our joint marketing efforts for the year ahead or the next few months ahead? And I think we'd love to teach more about that and share more. And I think that is something.
And touching on that's and why we want to do that is because we've seen the benefits of joint marketing. Like we've had not real estate related funnels that are co-used that have generated us ridiculous amounts of ROI and have built long-term funnels for her. When I do research in the mortgage space, I can't believe how little, when you compare it to my industry, how
Yeah.
little lead generation there is. Like in my industry, I go to a thing and 80% of agents have their own website, their own like IDX feed. They're trying to generate, and not that like mortgage agents aren't on socials or they don't have like the platform, but you don't see a lot of PPC, for example, where I type in lowest mortgage rates and it's an individual agent running it. It's always the bigger company running it.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like all these agents are leaving, I won't swear, but a lot load of stuff on the table, because
Yeah.
leaving it for, and who's doing it? It's RBC, it's TD, it's all these big banks that are running it, running their tools to generate leads. And like that's, and I think mortgage agents are going to learn quickly, like from you
Yeah.
and I, that like there's money to be made there.
I do think there is. And I also, but at the end of the day, I would just want to challenge you to say that I think that not everyone has the skill set that you have.
You
Like
have
you
to
have
have the
this,
right
you
tools
know,
and the systems and the ability to do it. Like, yeah, 100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I think there's a lot of people that just don't even know what they're missing.
Right.
And that's why it's so key to align with a brokerage
Yeah.
that has kind of this system or this network of collaborative thinkers that want to share those ideas. Because I find I often sit down at a collaborative table with agents that are doing way cooler stuff than I'm doing. And I walk away and I'm like, my God, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Right. And like, those are the moments when you actually walk away and you're like, my God, it's not that I was choosing not to do that. I didn't even know it was a thing. Right. And so
Crazy, right?
I think it's really important to just align with the right group of people that want to share
And have
that
the
kind of
same mindset,
information.
right?
Yeah.
And that's it. Like you said this earlier, when we were at Remax, like it was almost part of the Rika like thing being like, when you get into real estate, don't share anything you're going to do because everyone else will take it from you and then you'll never make money, right? That
Yeah.
was the mindset we came in. One good piece of advice I got was like, no agent's ever going to give you their business, like referrals, and just give you money as a new agent, right? So it's like, learn something, right? You have to be invested in a space that you're going to actually carve out and
Yeah.
want to be in, and with collaborative people, right? Because
Yes.
for me, even if I do a 30-minute meeting and 25 minutes is me like teaching someone something, but they give me that in 5 minutes, they give me that piece of information that's worth it, that spent them 2.5 hours. Well, that was worth it. Like that to me, it's like I just grabbed a piece of this intel in this space and now we're working together. We're doing this.
We're
right?
like 29-1 usually in our
No,
meetings,
no,
29
no,
minutes
no,
of me
no.
learning from Cody.
But that's
like,
but that's the thing, right? And it's like it's funny actually. I just what you said. I just met with someone about this software we're running, and I explained the model we're going with it. They've been using this software for 7 years, and they were like, "I've never thought of doing it that way." And I'm like, "It's so weird though, because they've been in it, and in my head, that's the only way to use it."
yeah.
But it's just dependent on. And I know it's hard to visualize that, but it is the power of collaborating. And when we came from Remax, or when we were in Remax, it was very like, don't you look at our stuff. Like, I'm not telling you how we advertise. I'm not telling you anything. And now I like almost encourage it. I always say, I probably said 100 times on podcasts, whatever. It's like, do it. Come sit in my office with me, and not at my house, but like come sit in my office with me. Right. And work with me. You want to work and you want to do it. You want to do what we're doing? Do it. It's hard.
Yes.
It's not easy. It takes an army of people and staff to put it all together. And I'll show you those people and what their roles are, because I can't do it all.
Oh my gosh,
You
you
know?
took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, like, who has to be Debbie Downer here to say, like, the collaboration is wicked, but you still have to do the
You
work.
still have to do the work, right? Use our 100 hours to understand, or someone else's to understand how to get into that system, be passionate about it, and then get involved in it. If you're competing against me, it is not easy.
Yeah.
In my market, right? And like we have a very competitive market, but that means you're going to have to be consistent on it. That doesn't mean that you just get those leads and then one of those, and it happens. A lead will put their hand up and it turns into a deal and it's great. And you think I spent 1,000, I just ROI'd 5X, we're good. But in reality, like most people, it's the nurture, it's the follow-up. It's the reason why I have 6 inside sales agents who support our team.
Yeah.
It's the reason why we have you guys supporting our team, because like that is how you get people across the finish line. Most people aren't calling you saying like, I need to buy a home right now, take me out.
Yeah.
It's just not how it works.
Yeah. And just for some insight, so there's 10 people at Spire. And, you know, listen, there's obviously a variety of different roles there, but like it takes a lot of people to process that number of deals. And this is what I know about me. And this is where like my confidence to share, and that, you know, I have, again, zero scarcity mindset. That's always like the best way that I like to put it, is that everyone I know owns a house or needs a mortgage. So like there's business everywhere, all around me. There's more than enough business to go around. But what I know about me is that I work harder than anyone I know.
Mm-hmm.
And I always will. I came
Mm-hmm.
out that way. I always
Yeah.
did, whether it was, in a
Yeah.
basketball game
Yeah.
or, as a natural gas trader or as a mortgage, like I just worked really, really hard, super passionate about what I do. Like everything I do it with like massive conviction that it's
Yeah.
the right thing for the people that I'm serving. And so I know that I will be successful. So it's like, I may as well share
And
with
that's
anyone else.
I said this to you, like we are happy to say to clients, like I spend a lot of money to bring people in front of our space. But if you have so many reviews, if you've got tons of business and like why would you want to keep doing that? And it's like, because I still think what we do is better and I believe in what we do and I believe in the people behind us. So I'm willing to do that. And obviously there's an ROI. Obviously that's why I'm in business. Everyone is in business for that, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is like I believe in what we do. I believe in who we're aligned with. So I think it's a disservice personally if someone lists their home in Calgary and doesn't meet with our team just to see what we do.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, it's a lot more than what the average agent does. And when you look at it, you should go like, there's value here.
Yeah.
There's value here.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's for me, I don't want people to not have that opportunity to just at least see what we're doing and go and compare it to whatever it is whatever it is they're also looking at. Right.
Totally. And it's funny, like just, even on a bit smaller scale, like in the mortgage world yesterday, my team was like, my God, like, are we working for free here? Because I had my team send out 4 like pre-approval letters at the lowest possible rate I could get in the market to people that I knew were going to work with RBC. And they're like, why would you do that? I'm like, because you know what? All 4 of those people are going to give my name to someone else.
Yeah.
I provided them awesome service.
Yeah.
They didn't need a new product. They didn't need the cost of paying for an appraisal and title transfer fees and all that. All they wanted was a little bit lower rate, and RBC was kind of jerking them around. And so I did 1 letter on letterhead, and RBC matched all 4 of those rates. And listen, I didn't get any commissions out of that, but that's 4 people that are like, wow, this chick knows what she's doing. And did the right thing for me, right? And so I think, again, just to like sort of, close the loop on, partnerships and just mentality, I think you want to be aligned with people that have an amazing service offering, are always doing the right thing for clients. And that just, if you can put jet fuel behind that with systems and processes and scaling, like that is something super cool to be a part of.
And it may not always hit too, right? Like, I feel like in Calgary, we've had the wildest market ups and downs. Like it's just a crazy space and it's not always going to work. But like, if you put that work in the long-term funnels, water the plants, right? What a great reference, hey? Water all the different plants and make sure it like they're all growing, because like this plant may suck right now, but in 3 years, because you've been nurturing it and you've been giving it time, it now starts producing leads, right? And you got to think of like that is like everything is a opportunity to grow it and build on it.
And I think we've seen so much of it now, 7 years deep. I've seen lots of agents sort of come and go from the industry that worked with me at one time and, have gone back to old careers or whatever it is. And a lot of it's because, they put, 30 grand into a real estate webmaster's website as an individual agent, and they didn't have the capital or the know-how or the partners or the ability to scale. And they also just didn't really know how to work a CRM and didn't seek the mentorship and guidance required. And so they put it into the website and then they just said, I can't afford to maintain this. And so it's really unfortunate. And like, just to even circle back to one of the points earlier, like we closed a lot of deals where I was introduced to that client in 2021. In 2024, right? Like 3 years of providing value to that client, checking in, how are you doing, right? Waiting for that mortgage to come up to renewal. Like it's a ton of work, right? So you have to really look at it
and be okay to share your stuff too. Like our drips, when I first built them out, like our very first iterations of drips was like 1,000 days. And in my head, I'm like, I'll go and change this eventually, but I want people being dripped every 2 weeks, 3 weeks from us long-term with valuable stuff that's going to be like useful for them along their journey, because they're going to be like, when I go to buy a home, it was Cody, it was Renee who was telling me the tips along the way of how to make that happen. It was them showing the value of what they do along the way to make it happen. Or if you're going to sell your home, it's the same thing. Like someone, puts in a home evaluation or you door knock them, right? I had a guy that we met with would door knock, and then if he didn't close it then and there, like if they weren't ready then and there to basically go let him in and do a CMA, he wasn't following up with them and he wasn't logging it for later. And I'm like, the amount, but he was successful, just not as successful as he could have been.
Yeah.
Because if he had just done the footwork after,
Yeah.
logged those people in a CRM, and even just had someone like a VA follow up with them, that's huge. Like he was doing all the literal footwork, but wasn't capitalizing on a lot of it. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. And that's why I always say too, like when you get in this industry, align with agents who are going to teach you the business. And if it's an agent that like has been in the business for 10 years and they're doing something that you're not aligned with, don't align with them. It doesn't make
Yeah.
sense, right?
Yeah.
If their business is this charitable thing they've been doing and they get tons of business off of that, you won't be able to replicate that over a small amount of time.
Yeah.
So don't get in that space, right? Like
Yeah.
get into a space that's going to make sense for what you want to do. I always say too, start small. Like buying a real estate webmaster site, buying any real estate website, it's a big endeavor even because it's not just, you press your thing and you get it. It's, you got to build it out. It's a business card for you. You can be that person who just gets a site and then has the, picture of LA on the front, you never update and whatever. And it's just got the content, or you make a site that's robust and speaks to your people.
Mm-hmm.
I always say be a mayor of your area, especially in real estate, not in mortgages. Mortgages, be a mayor of, your bigger area, but in real estate, like whatever community you're in, be a mayor of that and own that first. Focus on that, buy a domain for that, build a site for that, and then grow from there.
Yeah.
Way more value than a general IDX site that literally thousands of agents get. And remember, like in the real estate space, it's $40 for most people to get a competent Chime or Lofty site, which is the equivalent of a Rue, Sierra, or whatever. Speaking from experience, they're very, very similar.
Yeah.
Unless you're putting in the work.
Yeah.
Then you talk about the new ones.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think, sort of on a smaller scale in the mortgage world, I taught a course yesterday to experienced agents and the day before actually to agents really looking to dial in their lead management.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've been really good at, and it's been a way to also try to get more people referring me and build my network as really somebody that's got a guy. I love it when somebody calls me and they're like, hey, do you have a painter?
Yeah.
Because I love to refer a painter that I know does a good job, and they love that I referred them. And then when that painter hears the word mortgage, they say my name, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I was talking about yesterday was intention with leads. So like when Auntie Jane calls you about her mortgage renewal that's coming up in 3 years, you actually write down the lender that Auntie Jane has her mortgage renewal at, and the renewal date and the mortgage amount. And so it's super interesting. I've been doing this for about 18 months now.
Yeah.
And I was saying every mortgage broker in Canada would love to do like $30 million in business, or like $100 million. There's like a handful of us that do that,
Yeah.
And so anyway, I've found for 2026, $99 million of opportunities by being intentional about creating a deal card for each person that calls me for just like, hey, do you have 5 minutes on this?
Yeah.
The other thing about being intentional about people that call you because you're the mortgage expert is that that person may then call you and ask you, hey, do you have a realtor that you could refer me?
Yeah.
Because now my mortgage is coming up for renewal and I need some help.
Yeah.
And so when you know the dates on their stuff and you say, hey, let me call you 4 months before your mortgage comes up for renewal, because you might want to make a change then. There is just like an opportunity fan there that is totally underestimated. So if I can tell you anything about leads from, not PPC or having an expensive website, like that's less where I shine. That's certainly more where Cody shines. I shine on being an expert in my sphere of influence so that those tentacles just have spread and spread and spread for 7 years.
You make
because
the
I was
most
so
of your
intentional.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Too, right? Like you get an opportunity, it's in front of you and you make the most of it, right?
Exactly.
Honestly, we do a lesser job of that because we do such volume, like we're generating thousands of leads. But like I always say to an agent, like when you've talked to someone on the phone, it's a good name, email, all that. Even if the intent isn't there, that's a great lead.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you right now, like if you want to know the numbers and I knew this year 1, year 2, year 3, because it never changed. 30% of the leads we buy are bad info, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's 30% of leads are bad info. We actually switched one of our sites straight up to being like, they have to verify and give good info because we have such abundance now that I don't care. If you don't want to give the info, don't use our site. And we still, then of that though, of those people now that register, 20% of them it's like immediately like, don't talk to me. I just registered to see this.
Yeah.
Immediately. So like you're cutting off a huge,
Yeah.
group of people right off the hop, right?
I just want to circle around to something because I think it's interesting. Like, and a lot of agents have kind of like a snarky sort of attitude towards Desco and Cody and their online leads. And this is something
Didn't
I
know
said to
this. I
Desco.
didn't know that that was a thing,
No,
but
no, but I'm just
okay.
saying,
Hey, man,
like, there's a lot of
we're
agents
always
that are,
there.
oh, I only do sphere of influence
Yeah,
leads. Like,
yeah, yeah,
this is the only type of business I
yeah.
do. So here's the thing. I have to give them a compliment and say that there is no one that I know better that takes an online lead and makes them a sphere of influence lead
Yeah.
quicker than these guys. And that comes from value. And it doesn't matter where your lead comes from, whether it's Auntie Jane or Auntie
Mhm,
Jane's,
mhm.
friend, or online leads that
Yeah.
were just poking around because they sort of liked that one listing. If you show value, that person wants to be in your
Right,
sphere,
right.
right? And these guys, I think you sell yourself short on it because I think you talk about PPC and stuff, but
Yeah,
like it's those online leads very quickly
yeah.
become sphere of influence leads. Desco and I, we did a deal and it was, new to Canada, clients is a number of years ago. And like they asked us to come speak at the newcomers center. Like
Yeah,
we,
yeah,
and again, like online lead.
yeah,
And it was so transformational in their lives. They asked us to come. Like
yeah.
there's another lead too, online lead. These guys asked us, like, it was my wedding anniversary. So it was September 15th. And I was sitting with Dusko's Three-Back, like around this table with their extended family, this family we'd helped. And I'm like, oh my God, but like,
Yeah.
it just it's
It's because like
unbelievable.
it's three things really. It's like the intro, and I would say that you're not like even to our inside sales agents, like you're not selling people because like very rarely will you convince someone to buy a home. They're
No.
either in the mindset or they're not. You're not convincing someone that they need to make that next step. And
Yeah.
honestly, like taking people into homes is usually enough for them to decide whether they're ready for that, right? We don't sell we don't sell people. We
Yeah.
add value. And the
Yeah.
biggest thing in what we do is focus on is like what is valuable to a client. So like if you're a team lead and you're like, what do they need to know? They need to know construction. They need to know their area, right? It's crazy to me when an agent doesn't know their area or even just the basics of a house where they don't know, or the basics of even the home inspection, right? And
Mhm.
knowing like us what a sewer scope is. Like these are all things that are part of your business. You may not do them, but you should be able to talk on
Yeah.
basic level stuff, right? But as a team, I think it was probably one of the strongest things, and I will not take credit for it because I love training myself. I don't like doing training per se, right? I
Yeah.
don't mind. I don't mind it actually, but I'm not that's not my wheelhouse. We got a
Yeah.
great guy for that, Slav, right? But he loves it and he's so amazing at it and he's so thorough and he's so on the ball. You
Yeah.
need someone like that in your business if you really want to do it right. I think in real estate, you can do it a lot of wrong. Like you could do it, you can just do it, right? But if you want to do it right, it's knowing what you're doing. And then if you want to do
Yeah.
PPC right, you have to have that value. You have to have that reason for them because realistically, we know this. Most people are signing up on your site and then a day later on another site and then a day
Yeah.
later on another site. And if you're not getting
Totally.
a hold of them early on, like
You're
the
dead.
third, well, but if you're catching them after they've spoken to four people, you better have a valuable thing to say, right?
Yeah.
So if I get on the phone with the person and I say, "Hey, oh, you're shopping in Acadia. They got another realtor and they're trying to get off the phone. No worries. Did they speak about the plumbing in there?" And you start ripping off as much as you can. No, they didn't say that. Okay. Well, hey, I just want you to know because it's something I do a lot of business in that area. You need to
Yeah.
look out for these things, right? That's how you get the conversation going. Oh, no one's ever said that. They
Yeah.
didn't say that because they don't want to provide the value. They don't want to actually go to the house early and look at the house before you get there and see the house and tell you what's wrong with it because that's what you should be getting told,
Yeah.
not opening the door saying like, "Oh, this is beautiful." I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what you feel about the house. It's your feelings. I want to tell you what the risks are of the house.
Yeah.
That's the mindset, right?
Yeah. I want to just like we could go all day,
Honestly,
obviously.
yeah,
Like
I
it's
know.
unbelievable. This is our meeting for 2024.
Yeah.
We put them all into one sit down, or for 2025, I suppose. What I wanted to just like, circle on, and I think this is a piece that we have done really well, is training. Because you were saying about training. And so I obviously do a lot of training on my team as well. But one thing that has been incredibly successful for us is the cross
Yeah.
training. I know more about real estate than I ever have from sitting in on their team meetings
Hmm.
for 7 years. And I certainly would hope that your agents are more well
100%.
versed in when they need to involve a mortgage partner
Yeah.
because I put a ton of hours into training agents, right? And the thing is realtors don't need to understand mortgages fully, but they do need to understand when they need to involve a mortgage partner, right? And like a lot of agents get themselves sideways. It's a joke in the industry. A lot of people call me a janitor because I get all the calls like from lawyers' offices and this kind of thing that it's like, holy crap, there's no mortgage. Can you help?
Yeah.
Often that's because the agent didn't realize there was going to be a mortgage problem and they needed to involve a mortgage professional. And so I think mortgage training for real estate agents is underlooked, and we've done it, I think, very well.
Amazing. And even just the synergy of like having you at our meetings. I think if you're a team lead, you're crazy not to have a mortgage partner embedded in your team meetings just to answer questions. To have that person there present, top of mind, top of funnel, you should be leveraging your mortgage partner to help the sales funnel, right?
Totally.
So it's educate your clients, educate your agents, pass them through the funnel. But yeah, the team meeting, it's incredible to have someone there. We did it where it's Renee gets a slot where we're like, hey, listen to Renee and what she has to say. We used to do this early on. We would get agents to do a piece where we're like, let's get the agents into this and We're stupid. We were stupid for even thinking this stuff, right? I was like, let's get them to be having to do more than focus on sales. And if you're a team, get your agents to focus on sales, nothing else. They don't need to do all this other crap, right?
Yeah.
But instead, we bring our mortgage partner and she knows mortgages, right? I might know our CRM. So like in the training, I'm talking about that. She's doing mortgages. Someone else covering something else. Bring in another expert from condo doc reviews. That type of value in your team is incredible, right? And the amount of agents I've seen that left teams because the training was a hype video, a sales video, a non-value video, even if it's only 30 minutes in a week, if you're going to make me sit down and listen for 30 minutes, it better be damn good.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, that's how people see their time. And you have to look at agents like that's how they see their time. Even if you know that they're on reels at like 4 hours of the day, otherwise just do it. No, like scrolling, like doom scrolling. They'll be like, don't you waste my 30 minutes in the morning. And you're like, you should respect that then, right? And be like, hey, how do I make this impactful so that they want? Because like realistically, it's not even about that. It's like, I want them to show up and be engaged and be a part of it. Because that's how you retain. That's how you grow. That's how you get more sales.
And so here's the other thing too, that I think we've done together. And I mean, this wasn't even on the list. I don't even know how we got here, but like, so I always tell my staff, like one of the values of being a part of this industry is the value of the deals you will see and the value of how you will learn to use leverage, mortgages, to invest in real estate and create generational wealth. There's no cheaper money that you can get your hands on than a mortgage against a residential piece of property. And so like for the record, everybody, if you don't have a mortgage on your residential property or at least a HELOC, you should, because there are so many opportunities to make other money. Like everyone that works at Spire has become a real estate investor. And like in all the agents that I've worked with, in the last 7 years, I've helped a lot of them become real estate investors. And so when you also have a mortgage partner that you trust, that you know is actually adding value to clients, agents get excited about wanting to transact themselves. And do you know what's super powerful in sales? When you put your money where your mouth is. So they're good real estate agents, right? And so a lot of that has come from Mortgage 101 over at Spire Mortgage Team on 85th Street, with me and like learning how to properly buy property, listening to Slav, Dusko, Cody, right? We talked about like the value of, creating clients for life because we're fundamentally changing their lives. How about creating a team of agents that want to work with you forever? Because fundamentally they're better off in their life as a person because they were a part of what you did, right? And that's not to say people don't leave us. Like sometimes it's a wrong fit. Sometimes they, they grow up, they move on to something better, like whatever. I want people to leave me feeling like, wow, I'm super glad I met that chick and I hope I circle around to her sometime in my life, right?
Literally though, that's also why we moved to Real Broker, because at Remax, it was like we could build a team up, help them grow, do whatever. And then and we saw no benefit in it. So it was a little bit dragging, but then they'd leave the brokerage even. And you're like, I just helped the brokerage grow this. So there's probably some pats on the back, at least when I walked down the hall, right? Like as I went by the odd office, I'd feel like something hit my shoulder. So it felt somewhat good, right? Doing that, right? Helping them. But in reality now, when I bring people in and I sit in front of someone and they're growth minded, before I was like, oh, thank you. Like depersonality, get away. Like you are going to I know what you want to do. You want to listen to everything I'm doing. You want to take all your notes and go do it yourself because that's your mentality. And I respect you because I'm that guy too. but I don't really want to work with you too much. Now I do. Now I want you because you are an asset, a partner to me that is going to take what I'm doing. I know it works. And I know if you got the right spirit, you're going to take this and we're going to do it together.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's a cell that's going to break off and multiply into more cells. Right. And it's like, it's at the end of the day, I only want to push big ass snowballs downhill. That's what I'm interested
Especially
in.
now, right? Like, if you're getting into whether it's mortgages or real estate, think about what type of lead generation you do want to get into and that collaboration side. We've talked about that a lot. And that's why I do want to circle back on that one more. If you're generating, just buyer leads, seller leads on an IDX feed, that is low intent. That could be someone, a year away or whatever. And they're probably not indicating their timeline on that. And when I worked in insurance, I had 2 managers in insurance at this one place, Allstate, great place. And one manager, we had call night, right? And it was like every Thursday, it was call night. And it was basically like, here's a list of people, phone numbers, and just call them in the area. I think it was based on like the postal code. And it was, hey, I'm your local real estate or insurance agent trying to not piss you off right now. And it was during dinner time, right? So it was like insane. We did, and it was months of like paying for us to be there at night to eat dinner and like grumpy agents, right?
Unreal.
Then our other manager came in and we went to a trade show and we did a giveaway. Like we've done that too, right? We did a trade show, which I think like that's the type of stuff that's great, right? Get on the floor early on, grab, right? It's like you find out the expiration date so that the ballot was name, email, and when their insurance expired, right? When their mortgage comes up for renewal, right? That's the 2 spaces, right? That's intent. Now I know that Mary and Joe are renewing on March, so I'm calling them in February. That's an intentional call. And I want my agents doing 500 intentional calls like that versus 500 dumb calls.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more information that you can have, and I mean, some of this comes down to like, God, I mean, we could go for like, what is a lead,
probably,
right? What is a lead? And so, like I always say, this is again, probably something I learned from these guys, but like handing out a business card is not a lead. Like a realtor texting me saying, hey, I gave your card to my friend. That isn't a lead, guys. There's nothing there. A lead is a name, a phone number, an email. And in my space, it's when is the mortgage renewal coming up, right? Because that's when people get really intentional and that's when they can make a move for free, right? And that's not to say we don't do lots of things midterm, but that renewal date gives, so much intent. And so it's like understanding the timeline as a realtor too, right?
And if you're going to do collaborative marketing, if I'm starting day one with a mortgage partner, my emphasis is looking at what is a space we can both generate and benefit from. Because like you said, in the very beginning of this, if you both feel like you're winning, you both want to be a part of it, right?
Totally.
So what's a space that we're both winning in that we can both leverage that's got high intent? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we're going to leave you with that. Hopefully your intent here is that you want to find an awesome partner with, mutually aligned values and build something really big. And we're certainly happy to connect with you, right? If you want to talk to us,
I'll just sell it for us because I feel like she doesn't want to. If you're in mortgages in the mortgage space and you want to talk to someone who's the best at it, whether you're a client or a mortgage partner or a mortgage broker, reach out to Renee. And if you're in real estate and you like tech and SEO and growing teams, chat with me because we're always working. We're always growing big things. And our goal right now, we've got a great mastermind. We call it the Agent Forum of people that are like, how do we grow this so that we're the best? Because in the end, like you said, there's plenty of business to go around, but there's plenty of easier business to go around if you do it the right way. And that's what we're aiming for.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Cody.
Cool. I love it.
Wicked.